Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Northampton match preview. So Sunderland take on Northampton on Sunday at 12 o'clock in their final league game of the season. Now, let's have a quick look at Northampton. They have just been officially relegated, so of course, a commiseration to them. I hope you do well next season. You come back up to League One. You're a good club. But if you look at their results in recent games, last time out they lost 3-0 to Blackpool. Before that, they drew with Gillingham. Before that, they did pull off a really, really good result, a good win against Ipswich. 3-0 there, which is absolutely mad. But these results, or at least the win against Ipswich in particular, hasn't been enough to keep them in the division. Now, for Sunderland, this is it's a difficult decision because I'm trying to debate and fight in my head. Not that my beliefs and my opinion means anything towards this Sunderland squad, but I'm trying to think like what would be the best way to approach this, and I'm sure that Johnson will be thinking the exact same thing now, because it is sort of a nothing game. It doesn't mean anything too much in the long term. Of course, it could change us where we are in the playoffs, but it's irrelevant really, because we're going to be taking on whoever we're taking on in the playoffs. You have to beat the best to get through to the championship anyway, so it doesn't really matter in that sense. So do we approach this with our best 11, try and get a big result, big scoreline maybe, get some momentum going? We did just manage to break our sort of losing streak, or our streak without a win, last time out when we did beat Plymouth by 3-1. Do we try and continue that with a big scoreline, with our best players, get them into some form before going into the playoffs, or do we rest some of them? Because I'm kind of more in favour of mixing and matching a little bit, purely because a lot of the season, particularly over the last few months, these players have had 2-3 days rest maximum in between games for so long, and we're finding out in almost every pre-match interview with Lee Johnson that so many different players are picking up knocks, or they've got niggles, or they're playing with injuries. McGeady's been doing it for weeks. He's had a sore foot that's been swelling up throughout games. He's been playing. White's had a thigh problem, and I believe he had a back problem as well earlier on a few weeks ago that he's been playing with. But we're forcing players to play wounded essentially at the moment, and when it's a game like this that doesn't mean too much. Of course, like I say, granted, we want a bit of momentum and some winning mentality injected into the squad before heading into the playoffs. But should we really be risking our big name players or our key players? Risk them, they might get injured, and then we're going to go into the playoffs without the likes of McGeady, without the likes of Wyke, or big players or big names like that, particularly defenders at the back who, we've been so short over the last few months on defenders. Do we really need to risk certain players in this game against Northampton? I don't think so. I think we should leave out the likes of Charlie White, who apparently should be okay for the playoffs. McGeady, I would leave him out as well. We try and give him as much time to recover that foot, and he had a broken nose apparently as well. But this is the lineup that I will go with, and I will discuss why I've gone for certain players, and we'll go through it. So I've gone for Lee Burge in goal. Now, I could have quite easily gone for someone like Patterson, but I just think a keeper should be consistent, particularly before going into the playoffs. So I'd like to see Burge there. Hume, you could argue that he could have a rest as well, but he has recently come back from injury, and I want him to keep getting those minutes in, and he has been playing well. He's scored in the last game as well, so I want Hume to come in there. I could go for Vokin, someone like that, or maybe McFadzean, but I just think Hume, he has had a long layoff, and yes, you could argue again, give him a bit more rest time, but I think when someone has been injured for so long, it's good to get those minutes back in his legs. So Hume, I've gone to start. Now, Younger, I will put alongside Wright. O'Nien has played so many games this season, and I don't want to risk him. It would just be our luck if Luke O'Nien gets injured last game of the season and we won't see him in the playoffs. So for me, I will keep O'Nien away, or maybe just on the bench or in the squad in general. I will put Younger in there. He deserves a chance. He's always impressed every time I've seen him. Put Bailey Wright in there. Again, another player who I think would be good to keep going because he was injured for a long time. His form has been very, very questionable, so maybe get a bit more game time in his legs and a bit more confidence before going into the playoffs. And having someone with the experience of Bailey Wright alongside Younger, I think would be ideal for him. Max Power, I've put him on the right-hand side. I know McLaughlin may be okay for this game, but Power, for me, even against Plymouth, in the middle, I think he was terrible in the centre of midfield. But as soon as he moved over to right back, he was fine. And we need to remember that has generally been the case. A lot of people have been saying, we can't wait for the likes of McLaughlin to come back from injury, or right backs in general, so Power can go back in the middle. For me, and I've said it for a long time, Power, for a good 90% of his Sunderland career, I think has been absolutely horrendous in the middle. He's had the odd good game, don't get me wrong, but he's been anonymous for a long time. He's been poor in the middle, and he's only really start really showing his quality quality a lot at right back, and I've always bigged him up and I've praised him at right back, because I think he's been fantastic there, and I think he's looked our best right back for large parts at the back end of this season. In the middle, I don't think he is one of our best midfielders. But either way, going into the midfield, I've gone for Dan Neil. It's never going to happen, but I'm a really, really big fan of Dan Neil, and I think if we're going to give him some game time, we should do it now. Dan Neil, get him in there, put him alongside Ledbetter, who can sit and allow Neil to get forward, because Dan Neil can get up, he can get back, he's creative, he's technical, he's tenacious as well, and I'd love to see him alongside someone, again, a bit similar to Younger and Wright, that partnership, an experienced head in Grant Ledbetter alongside Dan Neil. I think that'd work quite well. Now, a 3 in behind Ross Stewart. I've gone for Jones, Maguire and Diamond. I think we should be, of course, resting McGeady. I think we should also be resting Gooch, who I think is going to be a huge figure, a key figure in the playoffs. Now, I've put Diamond on the right-hand side, give him some game time. Jones, you might argue, we could rest him as well and maybe chuck someone like O'Brien in. But Jones, for me, is only shown his quality in really small doses. And when he does show his quality, we know what he's capable of. But I want to try and run him into some form as well. Maguire, he was brilliant. He came on and changed the game against Plymouth. And if you need a big game player, you're going to want Chris Maguire. So I just want a little bit more game time in those legs of his. Starting him against Northampton. See what he can do. See if he can link up with the likes of Diamond, Jones and Ross Stewart. Because I think, Maguire and Stewart could do really well together. Same with Jones as well. I just want Jones to start getting his head up, running at players, rather than sort of slowing the game down like he has been. His crosses haven't been too bad. Against Plymouth, he was dangerous in that sense, but he just didn't seem to have the confidence to just run at his man. He was making it very, very easy for the Plymouth right back for large parts in that game. But this is the lineup I would go with. It probably isn't going to happen. LJ might just go for a full strength squad, but I just feel like this is the kind of side I would go with if he was to blood some youngsters in. So what do you think of my lineup? Do you agree with it? Probably not. I mean, I put out on Twitter that I would probably play a few youngsters, and quite a few people disagreed with me. And, I do agree that we need some momentum, and we need that winning mentality. We need to, get some confidence in the lads after that horrible run that we went through. We've just got back to winning ways against Plymouth now, to just get a big scoreline against Northampton, which isn't, a definite thing. Northampton are going to want to go out with a bang, I'm sure, although they might end up using a few youngsters themselves to give them some game time and, go into the stadium. It's a big occasion for them, without me being too patronising. It is a big occasion for a lot of players. They're going to want to play. They're going to be right up for it, I'm sure. So do we just go full strength? But again, like I say, so many players have had niggles that we're finding out about every week. I just want everyone to be fully fit and okay and fresh, and get a good week or two training on the training ground before heading into the playoffs, rather than just exhausting them as much as humanly possible before the playoffs, if that makes sense. But either way, you let me know in the comments down below. You're probably going to slate me, but either way. So in terms of my score prediction, I'm going to be bold, I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to go for a whopping 4-0 Sunderland win. I don't know why, I just think it'd be a really, really good turnaround. Do I believe it's actually going to be 4-0? I don't know. But I'd like to say it's going to be a big scoreline, so then we can end the league season on a high and go into the playoffs, full of positivity, full of confidence. The fans will be on side. Hopefully, we get fans back into the ground for the playoffs. We shall see. There's been talks of about 10,000 being allowed into the stadium for the playoffs. But again, we'll have to see how that one pans out. That'd be amazing to see fans back in the ground. So that'll be my match preview, guys. Unfortunately, there won't be a review for this game because I won't be able to watch it. I am working, which is a massive shame, but it's got to be done, guys. It's got to be done. If only this was my full-time job, then you get a review for every single game, but it isn't. So, so hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, you take care and stay jam.